In the vibrant and complex world of ancient Greece, life was governed by a tapestry of laws and customs that, to the modern mind, might seem strange, harsh, or even outright bizarre. From the disciplined warriors of Sparta to the intellectual citizens of Athens, these practices reveal a society deeply rooted in tradition, morality, and survival. Adultery, a crime of specific circumstances. In Athens, the punishment for adultery was a matter of life and death, but only for men caught with a married woman. If a husband discovered another man in bed with his wife, he could legally kill the adulterer on the spot. While this may seem extreme, not every adulterer met such a fate. In some cases, the guilty man was fined or let go. Yet even a spared life came with lasting consequences and dishonor. A man branded as an adulterer was seen as untrustworthy and was barred from holding public office. Oddly enough, married men visiting prostitutes was completely acceptable as long as the woman wasn't married to someone else. Affairs between unmarried men and women were also overlooked. In Athens, the sanctity of marriage appeared to hinge on the honor of a husband, making the crime a matter of property and social standing rather than morality. The epikleros, women as heirs without rights. For Athenian women, inheritance was a matter of obligation rather than choice. If a father died without a male heir, his daughter became an epikleros, a vessel to preserve the family estate. By law, she was required to marry her closest male relative, sometimes an uncle or cousin, to ensure the inheritance remained within the paternal line. For the epikleros, this was not a marriage of romance but of duty. If she was already married to someone outside the family, she could be forced to divorce her husband and wed the designated relative instead. The purpose of this custom was to prevent the fragmentation of family wealth and maintain the economic stability of aristocratic families. Even after marriage, the epikleros' husband did not gain ownership of the inheritance. He was merely a caretaker until the couple produced a son, who would then become the rightful heir. Disputes over who had the right to marry an epikleros often erupted into legal battles, especially when multiple relatives laid claim to her hand. Spartan women, though slightly more autonomous, faced similar pressures. While they could own property, their marriages were often arranged to keep wealth within noble families. The stark contrast between Athens and Sparta's treatment of women reflects the broader differences in their societies. Marriage by abduction, a Spartan tradition. In Sparta, the journey into marriage was nothing short of theatrical. When a Spartan man chose his bride, he often enacted a mock abduction with the help of his friends. At night, they would kidnap the bride from her home in a symbolic gesture of transitioning her from girlhood to womanhood. Once abducted, the bride underwent a startling transformation. Her head was shaved, and she was dressed in men's clothing, including a cloak and sandals. Left alone in a dark room, she waited for her husband to join her. This ritual emphasized the Spartan values of strength and endurance, preparing women for the hardships of Spartan life. Marriage in Sparta also differed from other Greek city-states in that young couples did not immediately live together. Instead, the groom would visit his wife only at night, sneaking away from his military barracks. This practice continued until the man turned 30, when he was finally allowed to live with his wife permanently. The tradition served multiple purposes. It reinforced the Spartan ideal of physical and mental toughness for both men and women, maintained focus on military duties, and limited distractions from the life of a soldier. Cowardice, a crime worse than death. For both Athens and Sparta, bravery in battle was a cornerstone of male citizenship. But the consequences of cowardice were far more severe in Sparta. A Spartan who fled from battle faced lifelong disgrace or even execution. In extreme cases, cowards were sentenced to death for abandoning their comrades. Those who were spared faced public humiliation. They were forced to wear multicolored cloaks and shave half of their beards, serving as visible symbols of their dishonor. Forbidden from holding public office, they could even be beaten in public without fear of repercussion. Athenians, while less extreme, still regarded cowardice as a grave offense. A man who fled from battle could lose his political rights, be fined, or even exiled. The theater and public speeches often mocked cowards, further solidifying their disgrace in the eyes of the community. The iron money of Sparta. Sparta's approach to wealth was as unique as its warriors. Under the laws of Lycurgus, gold and silver coins were banned and replaced with iron bars as currency. This heavy and impractical money was designed to discourage greed and corruption. The iron bars were so cumbersome that carrying a substantial amount required a cart, effectively discouraging wealth accumulation and luxury. Foreign merchants, unwilling to accept such awkward currency, avoided Sparta, leaving the city isolated from the economic networks of other Greek states. While the system promoted self-sufficiency and limited external influence, it came with significant drawbacks. Wealthy Spartans hoarded gold and silver in secret, creating an underground economy. Over time, as Sparta's power waned, the use of precious metals gradually replaced iron bars, signaling the decline of Lycurgus' austere vision. The power of names. In some Greek city-states, a peculiar custom restricted parents from naming their children after living grandparents, particularly grandfathers. This was primarily to avoid confusion in legal matters of inheritance, with strict laws favoring the eldest son or nearest male relative. Distinct names helped track lineage and property claims. In Athens, the firstborn son was often named after his paternal grandfather, but only after the grandfather's death. By ensuring that only deceased ancestors were honored, this tradition reinforced the patriarchal control over family heritage and property. These peculiar laws and customs paint a vivid picture of ancient Greece, a world where honor, duty, and discipline were paramount. Though many of these practices may seem alien today, they reflect the values and challenges with society striving to maintain order, stability, and tradition in an ever-changing world.